DMS Alerter. That's a small tool you can install on your computer. It automatically connects to your DataMiner system whenever you start your computer, and it notifies you with a balloon with optional audio of any alarm that you want to be notified of. That's basically what the tool does. Let's take a look at that. So the Alerter tool, we will first have a quick introduction, what it's about. Then we will take a look on how to install it and start it up. It basically makes a connection to your DataMiner system. We will not take a look at the filtering possibilities because we don't want to be notified of every single alarm in your DataMiner system. We can also tweak a little bit the notification options, and there are some preferences that I want to mention as well. And the alarm list is a basic list of the alarms that is being shown in there as well. We'll quickly show that to you as well and wrap it up with the balloons, with some tweaking of those balloons we can do as well. The exercise will do that throughout this module. All right, so first the objective, the introduction. That's basically what we want to achieve on the right hand side here. We want to be notified whenever there's a critical alarm on a certain element, a certain parameter with a certain value, with a balloon that includes certain actions. That's the purpose. While I'm working on something else, I don't have DataMiner Cube open all the time, so I may be working on some email things, and suddenly something happens on my DataMiner system. I immediately want to get that pop-up that notifies me like, okay, something happens, I can click on it, I can take some actions, I can go to the system to further investigate the problem. It is a separate tool that needs to be installed, and you can find it on the following location. That's basically on your DataMiner IP address or URL/tools. You will find the installer over there. I'll immediately do that in a demo. If you install the tool and you start it up for the very first time, it will invite you to specify the connection details with the URL or IP address of your DataMiner system, your username and your password. And it will remember that so that the next time it can automatically connect to your DataMiner system. By default, it will automatically start whenever you start your computer, but you can also deactivate that if you would like to do so. It will basically have a small icon in your system tray next to your clock that automatically connects in the background, and it will pop up a balloon whenever something happens that you want to be notified of. So let's install that tool and let's take a look at that. So I'll open up a web browser and I'll go to dcp.dma.skyline.be. And if I log in there with my domain credentials, you will actually be able to find it on the tools page. I said /tools. Well, actually, you can also click on your user icon and go to the tools from there. Or if you want, you can also just go to /tools, and it will also bring you to the same URL. On this page, we will find the standalone applications, and I'm interested now in that Skyline Alerter, and I need to install it manually with an MSI. Manually means that it will not automatically update. So whenever I update my DataMiner system, the servers, I will also need to manually go back here and download the newer version of the MSI to get my alerter updated and avoid version conflicts. So if I click on there, you can download it, and it apparently is not a signed version I have here, so I need to keep it. And then I need to show more and keep anyway. And now I can effectively execute and launch that MSI installer. It's a small welcome page here with just the location where it will install it somewhere on my computer. That's all fine, and I can just continue, hit next. It asks for approval. I say yes, you can install it, and it basically installed the application. So now where will the application be? Well, it will be hooking into your system tray, but let me first launch the application for the first time. So recently added Skyline Alerter, or you can of course also just search for Alerter in your apps, and you will find the Skyline Alerter there as well. And apparently I already had a DMS connection, so let me quickly remove my connection again. Remove the account, yes. So this is the initial page I would have if I have not installed it yet. I did already, so it remembered that. So now I have my Skyline alerter running, and you can see it in the system tray on the lower right hand side. So there you can see it, that's the application. So the first thing I need to do is I need to specify where my DataMiner system is. So that's dcp dma.skyline.be with my credentials, and I'm logged in, or I typically log in with my domain account. That is quite convenient to have only one account. So I specify that, I add the account. That's only the initial launch or the initial installation that you need to do it, because now it will remember my account details and it will automatically start the next time I run the tool. Now, I mentioned that I specified the URL and the username and the password. If you would ever like to change it again, on the upper right hand side, you can go to settings, and on the second tab page, you do have the account details there. I just previously removed it to start from scratch again, so you can remove your account details, or you can also edit the account. You can see the URL here, that's the host or IP address. You can just give it an arbitrary name. And underneath the advanced, we typically need to leave that automatically detect settings. So you can verify that over there. Okay, so that is the page where you can manage your DMS connection details and remove your account if you would like to do so. Now, next thing that I want to do is I want to specify when I want to be notified, because typically I don't want to be notified of every single event in my DataMiner system, but I want to narrow it down. Well, first of all, you do have the possibility to do some basic client-side filters here, which just say like quickly, oh, only the critical alarms, a very basic filter. So that's always available there. You can also go for use server-side filter or use client-side filter, and that means that over there you can effectively leverage the filters that we have already seen and created in the Alarm Console module. So we noticed there that we can create and save a filter. So you can make any kind of filtering combinations like critical alarms in a specific site, or with a gold class property on there. So all kinds of combinations, and then you can save that as a certain name and you can reuse that filter over here. So I'll reuse that one that I created before. What's the difference between the server-side filter and the client-side filter? Well, there's a subtle difference there, that the server-side filter is filtering server-side, so only the alarms matching your filter will get to your client. Client-side will basically send all the alarms to your client, and then the filtering will happen on your client. What's the subtle difference there? Well, with the client-side filtering, you do have a little bit more bandwidth, you could say, that is being used, although that's not that much. But it is possible then for the tool to detect if an alarm is cleared again, even if it doesn't match your filtering. So if you only allow critical alarms with the server-side filtering, you get the critical, but you never get the clear. So you don't know if the alarm disappears again. With the client-side filter, you do get the critical and you get the clear as well. Maybe it doesn't match your filter, but we can take away the balloon again if the alarm would immediately disappear again. So we do have that additional advantage by using client-side filtering. The alarm storm prevention, you can add some settings there to avoid that you get too many balloons basically when an alarm storm happens. Only retrieve new alarms whenever you connect to the system. Do you only want to process the alarms that are new from that point onwards, or also the alarms that happened like an hour ago while you were not connected? And you can also hide the acknowledged alarms that somebody took ownership of, or alarms that are cleared again when you use that client-side filter. Small note is that the alerter tool will never show masked alarms. Let's go back to my alerter tool. So you can access that with the settings button on the upper right hand side. And over there, we do have the possibility to configure a little bit our filtering. So you can go for a basic filter like show me all the criticals. Or you can also go for that more advanced filter with using the server side or client side filter. I'll go for a client side filter. And here, if we click on the dots on button on the right hand side, you see the filters that are existing on your DataMiner system. In the module alarm console, I did create the IRD criticals. It was a very simple filter that filters on the critical alarms that are happening on devices that include IRD in the name. Note you cannot change a filter here, so the creation or the editing of those filters, you need to do that in DataMiner Cube. But you do have the possibility to make an and/or combination here. If you click on there, you can make and/or of several filters. So that is something you do have, you can do in here. I'll just keep it simple. All the critical alarms that are happening on the IRD devices. That is a private filter. I do have some shared filters there as well. You can either show them or hide them. Okay. So I think I'm ready with my filtering. I'm happy with that filtering. Next step I need to do is I need to specify some options on the notification. How do I want to be notified? Well, on the notification type, first thing that I will need to do is I need to show that balloon, or I can actually automatically hide that balloon after a number of seconds. So if an alarm happens, do you want the balloon to show up for 3 seconds and then disappear again automatically? Or do you want it to stay there forever until I do something with it? So you can optionally automatically hide the balloon. Next to that, I can also combine that with sounds. So if I enable the sounds and if I add a new item in that list, I can say, for instance, that a critical alarm needs to have a certain WAV file and a major alarm needs to have a different WAV file, or just all the alarms have the same WAV file. So you can make a distinction there to have different sounds for different types of alarms. And there is also a beep available, which is less important. Let's go back to the settings. So now going to the notification type. Do you want to automatically hide the balloon? Yes or no? I will leave the balloon there so that I effectively see the balloon even if I'm talking to somebody else for a couple of seconds. I still have that balloon there when I get back to my screen. But I will enable a WAV file and add some sound there. So how do you add a sound in here? You need to right click there and you need to add a new entry in there. And the new entry, you need to first of all select for which alarms it needs to show the balloon, needs to play the sounds, and which sounds. So the filter, you could just say, okay, the same thing again for all the alarms that are entering, all the criticals on the IRDs. Or you could also, you have some built-in ones, say for critical alarms, I use certain WAV file, for major alarms, another WAV file. So you can add actually multiple entries into that list of sounds. I'll just keep it simple for now, and I'll just say for all the alarms, oh, I did a little bit of too much clicking there. For all the alarms, play the same sounds. And let's select a sound from my computer. So you can typically find some sounds on the C Windows media directory. In there you will find some WAV files. Let's open up the second one, which the alarm 02. You can repeat it or stop playing after a couple of seconds. I'll just play it once. Okay, so now I added in there that a certain sound will be played whenever an alarm happens. All the alarms that are matching my filter, you could also go for different sounds in this list. Okay, So what else do we have available? The first tab page of my settings actually specify whether your tool is automatically launching whenever you start your computer. And it also has the credentials available there as a Windows user or as custom user. Now, the tool itself shows you a list of all the alarms coming into your tool, just not really an alarm list because it's not keeping track of the alarm life cycle. It's just a stream of passing by notifications. But there you can see whether the tool is still needs to process it or it's currently showing the balloon because maybe you have a balloon and there are still some balloons waiting. So therefore you can actually see how many pending there are still in that list, and there is a convenient cancel pending alarms if you would have an alarm storm. Because you would close the balloon and the next one would pop up, you close the balloon, the next one pops up, maybe you have 100 of them waiting in line. Well, over there on the main page you can actually see all of the pendings and cancel that pending as well. Do note there is also a tab page with collaboration, so actually you are online in the DataMiner system, so people can see that you are online and they can actually send you a collaboration message as well in there. Now the balloons, that's what it looks like, and maybe we can already take a look at it in our DataMiner system as well. So what did I do? Let me check the preferences. It starts when Windows starts, that's the default. I specified my credentials. The connection details, that was on the first startup. I already specified that, or the server where my DataMiner server is. Filtering, what did I do? I said critical alarms need to be notified with the filter that I created in the alarm console module, criticals on IRD. And it's going to also play a WAV file whenever the balloon pops up. I'll come back to the balloon in just a second. Now let's open up my DataMiner Cube and let's open up an element here so that I can generate a critical alarm. Let's clear the alarm and let's generate the alarm again. And it's still pending there. Oh yeah, there we have our, it's behind my, let me remove myself for a second. So the balloon is there. You can actually, that's the default position on the lower right hand side where you typically see the balloons popping up. You are actually able to take this and to reposition this. So let me just put it a little bit on top of my screen so that I have it conveniently available there inside whenever I'm working on something else. So it's going to be in the middle of the screen. It's going to be very clear for now. So what do I see? I see it's on the IRD, the output gain 21 dBm. It's a critical alarm. It happened at this time and I can just close it. And actually I have two elements linked to each other, so it will pop up twice. I didn't hear the sound. That's because my sound or my audio was off. So let me... there you go. Now I have also some sound that comes along with the balloon. So whenever a balloon pops up, I do have that sound that comes along with it. So I still have some pendings here. I can also click on the cancel pending there to remove all of them. So you can close it. You can also click on the element itself that will launch the application to immediately bring you to the DataMiner Cube and open up this specific element. I can also take the ownership right from there. So if you want to acknowledge this alarm, put your username on there. You do have the take ownership available there. Now, so that's the balloon. You have a couple of examples here with the different severities that are in there, some different process parameters and elements and values that are there. As I said, you can reposition the balloon. You can also resize the balloon by dragging the edges, so you can really put it somewhere in the middle of your screen, very big, so that you cannot miss it. The balloons can also show additional information because by default it's only the element name, the parameter name, and the value that is being shown, and the time and the severity, of course. But if I'm having, for instance, some other interesting properties that I immediately want to add, let's think about that additional property that I added, the gold, silver, bronze. So remember that, let me pop up my cube. I do have a BERT class here, gold, silver, bronze. If I want to immediately visualize that in my balloon, then I can do so by going again once more to the settings, and I go to balloon. I see the different properties that are shown by default. That's the default layout of your balloon, but you can add other properties. So any of the properties are again available like we have in the alarm console. So if you want to add, for instance, the polling IP address of the element, or maybe the owner as well, so you can do any of those, choose any of those properties. What I will add is the elements property, more specifically BERT class with that gold, silver, bronze. That's the property I want to add. There's also some acknowledgement options that are specified here. You can play around with that. So now the balloon will look a little bit different because it will also include that class silver that I have on this element. So let me remove the alarm and pop up again a critical alarm. There it is. And let me make it a little bit bigger so that it can by default immediately show you the class property. The BERT class, and for one or another reason, this is the curly brace element, so that's not my IRD1. Let's close this one. And there we have this one, the IRD1, that's a silver element. So immediately when I get this pop-up, I might be working on something else. I will get this pop-up that immediately draws my attention to this alarm happening in my DataMiner system there. And you can take the necessary actions from there. And it keeps on coming. All right, so that was a little exercise that I did throughout this session. So remember that this tool is a very small tool, very easy to install and set up on your computer. It basically connects to your DataMiner system. You configure which alarms you want to be notified of. You can specify how you want to be notified of it with a nice balloon in the middle of your screen, nice and big, with the necessary properties that are interesting for you, and maybe also some audio that comes along with it. Small and handy tool, but definitely worth checking out. Let's see you in the next one.